your pony knowledge by. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, stable duel. Your horse racing fantasy come true. But no, stable duel.
Download the Stable Duel app and play today.
Friday, April the 28th. That means we are the last Friday in April. So that means we're just 1 week out from the first Saturday in May. The Kentucky Derby. Actually, 1 week from today will be the Kentucky Oaks. We're going to make you some money. We're going to pad that bankroll today on this weekend in Stable Duel. We have Matt DeSantis. We have Barry Spears, the sniper. You hear Matt. He has a hoarse voice because he has recorded 37 editions of Capping the Card, 22 of the 5-question rapid fire segments. Matty, my friend, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I am, doing an obnoxious amount of content, and it's one of those. It's that time of year, where it's just, it's obviously an exciting time of year. We're closing out this Keeneland Spring Meet, getting ready for the Run for the Roses. The Kentucky Oaks is super exciting. It seems like there's a lot of buzz around this year's Derby just because it feels super wide open. So from a betting standpoint, it's a really fun race, I think, to talk about. And I think you see people who, 8 different people have 8 different answers for who they think is going to win. So it's an exciting time of year.
From Going in Circles, Big Mondays, he is the Jimmy Butler of this podcast. Averaging about 38 points in a 5-game playoff series, coming off one of the best performances we've ever seen. Takes down Giannis and the Bucks. Barry, the sniper Spears, how you doing today, my man?
Hanging in there. TGIF, my brothers.
Exactly.
TGIF.
They show those commercials sometimes. My sister will send me like one of those Instagram posts that'll be like, kids don't know how they used to not have it. It'll be like TGIF, and there was one that's got a picture of like Family Matters, Step by Step. You got Boy Meets World. It's got a picture of Blockbuster, and just like a line waiting at Blockbuster, and then like a Pizza Hut. It's like, man, that was a Friday night. That was get a couple Blockbuster movies, a little TGIF.
Make it a Blockbuster
Friday night. And the
Yeah.
moon is right. Gonna have some fun, show you how it's done. TGIF. Well, Maddie, let's talk about what we have coming up for the next few days, because it's a fun couple days of Stable Duel games. We have our closing day at Keeneland today. So Keeneland, Santa Anita, kind of normal tracks that we would play for today. But then tomorrow, I saw you on a live stream last night talking about the Foxfield races. You actually won the last time there was a jump contest for Stable Duel, and we'll also have some Golden Gate, some Santa Anita tomorrow, so a lot of different options right over the next couple days.
Absolutely. So just if you're looking at the schedule for today on Stable Duel, if you're playing Keeneland last day, listen, there's 2 different contests. There is a $5 winner take all contest, and that is a contest where the pot just continues to grow as more people enter. We're several hours from the get-go. We already have 24 people entered, over $100 in the pot. So that's a winner-take-all, $5, 2 entry maximum. There's also a $25 game, 3 entry maximum, $2,000 pot. So you definitely want to take a look at that one today for Keeneland. And then, we have the free contest tomorrow at Foxfield, and that's super exciting. It's a free contest with a $2,000 pot, and I can attest the winner gets $500, which is not a bad deal at all. And that's a 6-race card. And Stable Duel and Bree and all the good folks at USA Steeplechase and National Steeplechase Association, they have a ton of content out there that's free that you can go out to and learn a little bit more about steeplechase jumping. And honestly, a lot of the same angles that we use in flat racing apply to steeplechase jumping as well. Second off the layoff, horses that had a bad trip last time, things like that. Hey, horses are horses, and it's a fun contest to play for sure.
So we'll be getting involved in all of those games over the weekend. And today at Keeneland, closing day. So let's start there as we look at the daily racing form past performances. DRF.com, that's the place to go. If you want to wager, you also have DRF bets there. Everything you need. I mean, for the next week, talk about Derby contenders. They have profiles for each of them. They'll have all sorts of different reports from members of the staff. If you need handicapping help for any racetrack, everything you need over there at DRF.com. So Keeneland Friday, and we got our man Barry, who's going to kick things off for us right off the bat in the opener, Barry. So get things started for us on Friday. Who are you looking at here?
Yeah, this is a nice little claimer to start off the day. And,
Yep.
you know, this isn't really one of the plays that I would necessarily just, go all in on to win. But this is an excellent, I think, excellent stable duel play. Um, in the first race, I'm going to go with number 2, Needs Some Money. And now this horse can win this race. Don't get me wrong. This isn't the strongest play I've ever had on here. But this horse can win because of the setup. So the outside horses here, the 7, Beautiful and Bold, Pachanga Loca, Huntley probably will need to actually kind of force the pace here.
Yeah.
The 4, Flamand, his best races have come when he's on the front end. Same thing with Tituba.
Yeah.
That leaves the 1 and the 2 not being on the pace. And you can just put a line right through the 1 because that horse has no shot here whatsoever.
The old process of elimination. I like it.
And that leaves number 2, Needs Some Money. And this horse doesn't have to be that far back either. If you look at the race November 8th at Churchill, he was right there on the pace, stalked, pounced, won pretty easily in a similar race, mind you. And at 10-1, right off the bat, this horse could probably get you some points, if not the ultimate prize.
I like this play a lot, Barry. This was my top value pick in capping the card for this race. And I also love, if you notice, this horse goes back to her original barn. And
like that.
I like that angle a lot. That's where she's had the most success. I think they kind of the other barn tried to step her up a little too much. And so I like that she's getting back to Sarah Hamilton's barn.
What's in the movie? How High? They got the guy that hangs around with them. That's their best friend that doesn't talk. And his name is I Need Money. And he just has it written in his teeth, right? And they're like, this is my boy over here. He's been with us forever. I need money. And they're like, what? And he's like, that's his name. And he just shows it on the teeth. It's like Red Man keeps pointing it to him over there. I need money. And this is what I need some money right here. Made me think of that, which was, I love that movie. Used to watch that one over and over and over again. How High. Shout out as we kick off the Keeneland card on Friday with Need Some Money. As we continue along, I believe Matt has a play for us in race number 3, Matty. So we're taking a look at a low-level maiden claiming race here.
Yeah.
Maiden $20,000 claimers going a mile and a 16th.
You know, that's my bread and butter. So yes, we're going to maiden claimer 20, and I'm going to take a look at the number 7 Replenish for Safi Joseph Jr. With Irad Ortiz Jr. board. Now, listen, I know Irad's had not the greatest meet recently at Keeneland, and Safi often struggles in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but you get him outside of stakes races, and he's a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But here's what I really like about this horse is this is a horse that Safi is getting off the claim, and when you see a horse, like what Safi's doing here, he's doing something that he does a lot, which is he either does one of two things. He either changes the distance the horse runs or he changes the surface the horse runs. And he has a lot of success. That's why he's so good off the claim. And so when you look at what this horse is going to be doing, Safi is 46% off the claim going turf to dirt. That's exactly the move that he is doing here. And so I absolutely love the fact that they're getting this horse back from a little bit of a layoff. Safi's always good off of a layoff as well. And getting this horse on its natural, I think a better surface for her. And this was a horse that was stakes placed in her second career start. There were some expectations here at one point. You get Irad aboard, 8-1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $3,000 in the stable duel. You know, as you said, this is a maiden claimer, low level maiden claimer. This is a wide open race. I'll gladly take a shot with a Safi and Irad horse at 8-1 with those type of statistics coming off of a barn switch and going to a new surface off the claim for Safi.
I also think that the horse is going to take some money too. So in a stable duel situation, you're probably going to come out ahead.
Yep. You're getting good value on this one. Replenish, as we could see those numbers, how good this barn is. First start off the claim in these maiden claiming ranks. Replenish for Maddie at 2-1. And I believe, Matt, you'll be right next door as well, correct? In
Yeah, we'll
race
give you a
number
little
4?
Double.
Traditional daily
Oh,
double.
daily
double?
double action. Daily
There we
double.
go.
Yeah.
Little dub with cheese. There you go.
Yep. So, yeah. So race 4 is a $50,000 claimer, non-winners of 2, and it's going a mile and a 16th on the dirt. And I am a big fan of the number 4 horse here,
Yes.
Odds on Tony. Okay.
Nice. Nice.
I
And
didn't
so,
give this one out as a pick, but this is the horse I was planning on playing. So
all right.
makes
So
you feel good that you like him too.
so Odds on Tony, if you go and look through his running lines, obviously it was a very well placed horse early on. Silver Heist, Woody the Bird Spotter, Cagliostro is who this horse has been running against first 2 times out. That horse goes to the turf, doesn't necessarily respond that well there, comes back and drops down to the maiden claiming circuit, gets a win. And then goes to a starter allowance at 6.5 furlongs. I actually think this horse is better going longer. If you look at this horse's running lines, this horse can make up a ton of ground late. I just think he was in a little bit over his head against a horse like Cagliostro in that second career start, going a mile and a 16th. So I think this is a horse 10-1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $1,000 for Ken McPeak. Louis Saez is aboard.
When with that's the thing, Matt.
yeah.
And like, look at the one race they went long. Look at the kind of positional speed he showed that day as well, right? Like, especially stretching back out with Saez. He's going to be a lot more involved in this race early.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And his running style and pedigree would suggest that he can handle distance. That's not going to be an issue. And so I actually think he's been running too short in some of these sprint races. And so getting him at a mile and a 16th, I think he's at the right level now. I think this is the kind of this claiming circuit, I think, is kind of where he can excel right now. And I think he absolutely fits in this sort of a spot. He's versatile, like you said. And I love that he's getting the no shots at Brian Hernandez Jr., who's been bringing home some big prices at Keeneland this meet. But, Louis Saez is about as good as you're going to get. So
and you kind of signals you aggressive too, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's not always that way, but when you see Saez on a horse like this, you figure they're going to probably say, hey, get a little aggressive with this horse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's try to put him in the race a little bit more. This was one of those horses where if I would have been, when I was working on TVG, if I wouldn't have seen the name of this horse before, because, sometimes you'll have a certain shift that you're working. And then for whatever reason, races get backed up. There's races that you didn't look at that you have to talk about a little bit on your shift, And so I would have seen this horse and I would have been like, odds on to NY? Odds on Tony? Like, I would have been like talking it out, you know what I mean? Because I could see it in my head different ways. And I'm like, wait, that's not NY. NY would be big N, big Y. I guess it is odds on. Like, I'd be like sounding it out like Hooked on Phonics, like live on live. I want to say
I feel like Odds on Tony is another horse that I feel like this, and there's a few horses actually on this card that I think are like that, where this is a benefit of really following the Kentucky Derby prep season, because there's a slew of horses running today that were running on the undercard of big time days like Lecomte Day, like Risen Star Day, things like that. And so if you're paying attention on those days, now suddenly these horses are popping back up here closing day at the Keeneland Spring Meet. And you go, oh, I remember that horse from Fairgrounds. Oh, I remember looking at this horse before. And that's why I always make notes in my little DRF online formulator here. And that's why when, I pulled up this race, I already had notes on Odds on Tony. I go, oh, I kind of remember I like this horse actually. And so you're halfway there. Absolutely.
Yep. So let's continue along because me and Barry both have a play in race number 6. Okay, my friend Barry, they're going to go a mile and 3/16 on the turf, $100,000 maiden special weight for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Who are you looking at here, buddy?
Yeah, these are races that I love to attack at Keeneland because they're wide open. There's horses coming.
You can make a case for all of it, right? Like
pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they're always really good events. And I'm going to give you 2 horses here. Although the one I'm going to give you first is actually the one I like the most. And that's number 10, Seldom
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, this horse just falls into a good spot here, especially having one race under his belt. That is really the clincher for me. Even though, he didn't really run that great. He was kind of bet a little bit, but coming out of that race and looking the way he's been training it looks like this was the plan all along, is to run here.
You talk
And
about the makeover package too, right?
mhm,
This is a horse who got action in the debut, but in that debut race, which was going long and not easy to do, it was a merry-go-round.
yep,
The top two finishers were 1-2 all the way around, so it was the no passing zone there. So while this horse didn't really fire, got a good race under her belt, right, to get some fitness. Now she
mhm,
adds the blinkers, and you got a jockey and a trainer who have both had a cold meet, but would sure love to pick up another win on closing day because they've had a lot of slices,
yeah,
right? Lots of
definitely.
just near misses, but keep going on seldom seen.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. You know, the blinkers on, surface switch, it all adds up to this is the spot that they want to run in, and
Yep.
I think it's, you know, they're obviously going to try. The other horse, funny enough, is number 4, Camelot Beauty. I know Julian Leparoux hasn't been riding all that great lately, but this one's maybe live. You know, this one was on an off the turf event, didn't run a step, had an awkward start, but has been training well in and out of that race. And
Yep.
I think getting to the turf is obviously the goal. This horse is out of Camelot, Monju, you know, Galileo on the dam side. How can you not want this horse to run on the turf? At 15-1, you gotta have to take a shot maybe here. You
Camelot,
know,
big price. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely throw in your if you're playing turf pick threes or pick fives or something like that. Camelot Beauty. We both are all over the number 10, seldom seen. Other positives about this one. You take a look at the dam vanishing, one on the turf. So now you expect seldom seen will be better on the turf. Take a look at the direct siblings. You have a horse like Into Vanishing, who was third in the only turf start, but you have a horse like Starting Over, who was a 3-time turf winner. And what you notice with all these horses, distance on the turf too, going longer on the turf. Starting Over one at 1.125 miles on the grass. So for a horse like Seldom Seen, going 1 3/16 on the turf should be no problem. I know I really like a horse because what I do, I'm goofy. I use different color pens for like each thing that I like about that horse, right? So if I'm writing down the trip notes from one race, I'll use like red. Then if I'm writing it for the next race, I'll use green. Then I'll go down to the pedigree and I'll use orange. Then I'll go down to the fact that both jockey and trainers have had slow starts to the meet and they could be a little bit better because they're a little unlucky. Then I get to the pat that we add blinkers for more speed and more focus. I also like the fact that the horse has worked on the turf and is bred for the turf. On top of that, you get to the fact that the horse's barn is 25% with second-time starters with a $1.75 ROI. And now all of a sudden I got like 10 things in 10 different colors on my page, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do like this horse a lot, and
You know, I'm gonna
that's
call you
always,
now. We're gonna
yeah,
have to get you a Fruity Pebbles deal like my man John
exactly.
Cena.
Something just like oh, dun, 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 dun. Yep, you're gonna have to just like that. You know who I learned that from in watching and working with him was the good doctor Les Onaka out at Los Al. He's got different pens for everything, different colors for all of them. And I talked to Jessica Paquette about this too, and a lot of different people. For me, it jumps off the page for myself when I'm handicapping. So especially when I come back to talk about a horse, I can easily see like my different angles and stuff. They don't kind of bleed into each other. Like sometimes you'll write notes and then like they're right on top of each other and you have a hard time reading them. I've got all these different colors, so it's sort of easier for me to just see, boom, and attack as Barry and I are attacking that 6th race at Keeneland later on today.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move
Fruity Pebbles
Fruity
or
Pebbles.
Skittles.
We're gonna move to race
The
number
rainbow.
7 for Maddie. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Maddie, what are you
Yeah.
looking at in the 7th?
Yeah, so race number 7 is another of these maiden special weight $100,000 races. 3-year-olds going 7 furlongs, or as I should say, very unique to Keeneland, about 7 furlongs.
He is out.
Maybe they feel going a little less, maybe a little more. Well, they'll figure it out. Yeah, right there. So listen, if I liked Odds on Tony in race number 4, then I'm going to throw it downfield and I'm going to go to the number 9 horse here, Mo Hope. And 20-1 in the morning line, huge price, and is exiting that same race that I mentioned that Odds on Tony was in against Cagliostro. The difference is Mo Hope actually finished second in that race.
Yep.
And what do we see Cagliostro do next time? Huge progression, almost won that big time allowance race against Dennington, and then goes into the Louisiana Derby from there. So this is a horse that was, very well intended for Cherie DeVaux in terms of Cagliostro. Now you look at a horse like Mo Hope, who the speed figures may not be overwhelming, but this horse has done nothing wrong. This horse has finished second the first 2 times, and 2 completely different types of trips. One sprinting, coming from the back, and the other time very forwardly placed, showing some nice tactical speed, going long. Now this horse is coming back from a layoff, and I actually really like that because Paul McGee actually 31% off the layoff with a $4.21 ROI. Gino, if I gave you $2 and you gave me back $4.21, that's a deal I would like. I would take that deal every
day.
Yeah. And so I just think this is, McGee obviously has a very limited number of entries at Keeneland, but is 2 for 5 winning there. So I just think, I know this horse is a big price, but at 20-1, I'm just willing to take a shot here. There's a lot of first timers in here. Obviously, the Cox horse, Castle Warden, the number 3, looks very serious as a win contender. There are some other ones who are actually decent prices. This is much like what you said about the last race. I feel like this was one to attack. But if you're really up against it in your stable and you need a really inexpensive horse that's only going to cost you, I think, $500 in this race or for the card, Mo Hope in race number 7, I think, is a good option. And I also love the slight cut back to 7 furlongs. I think that distance is going to hit this horse right between the eyes.
Little positional speed going longer. You got the cutback for Mo Hope, the number 9 for Maddie, 20-1 on the morning line. Won't cost you much at all to use, so it will really help when you're building your lineup. I like the 6 a little bit in here. Loyal Company.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Show some improvement here, coming from way out of it. You know what? This is a horse who's a horse that Barry's had some good success with. And that has had some precocity, Prevalence.
Oh, yeah.
And Prevalence, who won the debut at 7. Prevalence is a graded stakes winner too, grade 3 Commonwealth winner, and capable of some big races on big days. That's the half sib to Loyal Company. Barry, I believe you and I are going to move to race number 10. Maddie has also got one in race number 10.
Everybody's bailing out.
Everybody's going to the bailout. Race number 10. So, Barry, why don't you start us off in here? Who you're looking at in this 10th race?
Yeah, I can definitely give you a disclaimer that this horse is probably not going to be 10-1.
Oh.
Okay.
Not going to be 10-1. I mean,
just good in stable duel if they're going to get bet down.
Yes. I'm going with number 2, Midnight Rising.
Yes.
Nice. There we go.
No way.
Maddie and Barry together.
I mean, he almost pulled off a shocker in the rush away after winning a maiden race.
Yep.
I don't see why this horse can't run well on the turf. Just ran 2 really pretty good races to start his career. He can only go up at this point, and I think he can beat the Chad Brown horse also.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Yeah, I agree. I saw the same thing Barry did. I also love the fact this horse is doing the slight cutback to a mile. I think that's probably the best distance. If you looked in the running lines, obviously, of that rush away, I should say, that was one, got to the lead and then just barely got edged out late, that last half furlong, a little bit of a bugaboo there. So I think going back to a mile, perfect distance for this horse. I think the setup of this race works out nicely, going back on Lasix actually after going off last time out. And I think you're not going to get 10-1 on this horse, but maybe you will because people might just hammer the Brown horse. I don't know. But it is, and there's
also a Ward and a Pletcher in there.
Yeah. I think the 7 horse Dunedin is kind of an interesting horse as well at 5-1. But for a value play, I just couldn't get past Midnight Rising. Love this horse, and the pedigree would suggest that going to the turf is not going to be a problem at all. I think the Dam has produced 5 out. I think the Dam's offspring are 5 for 9 in the exacta turf routing. So definitely a well-meant horse on the turf.
Yeah, he ran into Rarefied Flair. Woo! Last time out over at Turfway. Anytime I can get a chance to woo, which was just a blast doing at WrestleMania a few weeks ago when I'm there. This is one of those things where you just start like when you're when you're there and you got a bunch of those drunk like 35-year-olds like me that are all just watching wrestling and loving it, and everyone's just got this great energy. You just yell one thing and everyone starts yelling with you. It's pretty fun. It is. I was thinking about it too. I think that was probably the most people I've ever been around in one place at the same time. You know, there were 75,000 people there. Yeah, I've been places where there are 40, 50,000.
COVID soup.
Right? Just soup as can be.
Especially
Just
WWE.
Especially, I was going to say, especially people who haven't washed their hands and taken a shower in a few days. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm allowed to say that because I'm one of them. I'm allowed to say that because I'm one of them. As I finish up with Keelan, race number 10. I'm on the 6. Laver in here.
Okay.
So we take a look at Laver, who's going to come back to the turf. He's a 3-year-old who's going to be making just his 3rd start at 3. What I like about him, first start on the turf, first start in his career is good. It's on the grass. In fact, it's so good that they put him in a stakes race in his 2nd start as a maiden. He runs in for $500,000 as a maiden. He runs into Reckoning Force, who we actually just saw come back and win last week. Following that, he goes back in against maidens. Good race, finishing 2nd, and then he breaks his maiden. And then after that, they're back into stakes company again. Like they've always thought pretty high of this horse because as soon as they've had a chance, they put him right back into stakes when he was a maiden. And then as soon as he broke his maiden again, they went into the Mucho Macho Man, weren't beat a whole lot that day, and then came back in the Sam F. Davis. Heck, the Mucho Macho Man is a race that produced, General Jim to come back out and win the Swale. We've also seen the Wood Memorial winner, Lord Miles, come out of that race. Baby Billy was in there, came back to win a maiden special weight. So that race actually was pretty strong. And now, you look at Laver, who's tried the Sam F. Davis, easy toss. And now what they do is they come back to the turf. It's like, let's start all over. And remember, we're a horse who's bred to be really good on the turf. Center Court, the dam, was almost a millionaire was really, really good on the turf. So you just figure this horse, who's a half to Navratilova, who's a graded stakes winner on the turf and has a really nice dam on the turf, getting back there now after a couple months off. I know this horse has a few starts in the Mucho Macho Man and the Sam Davis at 3. To me, this almost feels like the first start at 3, right? You get a couple months off. You're going to start back at the turf on the turf now. Maybe you've just matured a little bit and grown up a little bit. You tried company that might have been a little too tough for you. I think it's a nice spot for Laver, who can sit at a good trip.
Vivar vibes going on.
Exactly.
How that horse got, went on the Derby trail, sort of
tailed off,
running
a
on
bit.
dirt, getting back to turf. This is a good pick.
Yep.
There's a wide open race too.
It is. And we're starting back over again there with Laver returning to the grass.
What's up with the tennis names there?
I know, right? Yeah, all the Laver.
I guess
center court. Yeah, right. So they're going after center court, which
right. Rod Laver and Navratilova.
Yeah,
I can speak today.
Look at Barry. Look at Barry getting some of his tennis knowledge in. We love it.
Yeah, I spread it around a sprinkle.
Yeah. He's a Renaissance man. He knows it all. So we will finish up with Keeneland. Good luck, everyone, at Keeneland. It's always sad when Keeneland ends because it's such a great meet, and we all love it. Such great racing throughout. It's a big partner of Stable Duels, too. Stable Duel always has Keeneland contests rolling throughout. But as we turn the page to Saturday, Matt, I'm going to pull up the Daily Racing Form past performances. You can look at the past performances for Foxfield. And Foxfield has a contest on Saturday. Give us some of the details one more time for the contest, and then let us know which race you wanted to give out, because I think you had a play today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the contest is free to enter. So listen, it's not going to cost you anything. You go, I don't know much about steeplechase. It doesn't matter. Get in the contest.
You won't lose anything. Yep.
You're not going to lose anything. Here's the kicker. It's a $2,000 pot. So this is not your typical free contest with a $100 or $200 pot. $2,000 pot. $500 goes to the winner. They spread out the winning to the top 25 who finish. Last week, we had almost 525 people enter the free contest. It was a blast. It was so much fun. The horse that I'm kind of interested in on Saturday, and by the way, I will be there on Saturday with Bremont.
Nice.
So looking forward to that.
That's cool.
And yeah. And they said that there's a stand where I can get another jaunty kind of cap. And so I'm like,
yes.
Sign me up.
I was going to say, they didn't even need to have racing. If they just told Matt that he could have gotten a hat at the stand, he would have driven all over there for that alone.
2-hour drive, no problem at all. So, so this one, listen, there's only 6 races in the card. You're going to have to double up, obviously, in 4 of the races to fill out your 10-horse stable. And I'm going to go to the, actually, listen, we like bailing people out. I'm going to go to the bailout race. I'm going to go to the 6th race. And I actually really like the number 6 horse in this race. And this is a horse that, so one of the things I like about Stable Duel is horse Fast Vision. A couple of things. One, for steeplechase in particular, looking at margin of defeat, I always think is a really telling statistic, because sometimes in steeplechase, you can get those lost by 100 lengths, lost by 70 lengths, lost by, and those things kill you in Stable Duel. Obviously, they max it out at now only minus 20, but still, it is, it's one of those things I always look at. This is a horse second back from a long layoff. That's one thing to pay attention to in all these races. A lot of these horses last ran in November. They're either making their debut or their second start of the 2023 season. So, now you see a horse like Fast Vision, second back from a layoff. Yes, taking maybe a slight step up, but this horse did run in stakes action 2 back, finished third by only 3.5 lengths. That's what I actually like. So, okay, if this horse finishes third again, but only loses by 3 lengths, I can live with that. This horse tends to be really close and not going to lose you, I think, a lot of points. The other thing is trainer Leslie Young, absolutely on fire last week. It's a very hot barn. I think she turned out 4 winners last week alone at the other contests that they had. And so I'm going to absolutely be using this horse and like I said, only $1,000, only going to cost you, or 10 to 1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $1,000. I'll use Fast Vision there in the bailout race, number 6.
Yeah, not a bad weekend last weekend for old Leslie Young, who was not old last weekend. She sure felt young. We can for sure let you know, because first, third, first, second, first, third, second, second, first, second, first.
Yeah.
How's that treat you? Those are the horses she ran last week. She had 10 horses, and every one of them were her top 3.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. We're talking about in steeplechase races where it's easy to finish dead last. Like you said, it's so easy for any one of these horses just to not make it a jump or have to get pulled up and then just back up. And she hit the board with every one that she ran last week.
It's wild. So,
Incredible.
that's why, you give me a hot trainer with a 10 to 1 morning line. You're not going to get that, obviously, if you're there betting, but I'll gladly use this horse in Stable Duel.
Fast Vision. Matt will be out on Saturday live over at Foxfield with Bree. Go and say hello to Matt and Bree and have a drink with them.
Yeah. Please.
Buy
That'd
him
be great.
Buy him
we'll buy you a drink.
Either way, one of the
Bree.
Somebody's buying somebody a drink.
But that means that people have to be thirsty.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is very true.
I'm not thirsty. I'm hungry. We want some fries.
Give me some fries. Give me something. What do they serve over at Foxfield, Maddie?
Mozzarella sticks.
I don't know.
Something.
Probably something a little bougie, to be perfectly
honest. Yeah, I was gonna say
it
sounds. I'd imagine.
A little caviar.
I was gonna say
gonna be a little
caviar dip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of those. Yeah.
Gonna be a little bit of that.
Yeah. They got like
some Cornish hen, something just like very
wine and cheese.
A game hen, a charcuterie board.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get your own charcuterie. Yep, you do. You do.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's move along as we are on Saturday, and let's head over to Santa Anita for Saturday. Yep. As Maddie, I believe you're going to start in race number 2 for us on Saturday at Santa Anita. So tell us who you're looking at in the or remind us, what contest can we play one more time for Saturday?
I was just about to do that. So on Saturday, they have a pretty nice, inexpensive contest to get into. So it's a $10 entry, 3 entry maximum for Santa Anita on Saturday. So $10. I mean, that's a nice, inexpensive game to play out there at Santa Anita. A couple of stakes races on the card, full fields, 12 races. Should be a lot of fun. So make sure to check that contest out on Stable Duel. And yes, I will go to race number 2 because I'm a glutton for punishment. And we're going to go to a 4.5 furlong sprint on the dirt for 2-year-olds. And not just 2-year-olds, but state-bred fillies. Yes, sir, Bob.
Yes.
So I am going to go and listen in a 12-horse field or a 12-race card. I get it if you just want to skip this race and you just go, listen, we're not doing this at all. I get it. But if you are going to play it, then you might as well, in my opinion, at least not spend a lot of money in this particular race. So I'm going to go to the number 4 horse, Steal the Spotlight for Matt Williams. And this is a combination of things that I really like. So first of all, you look at Williams, who is in a limited sample size, very good getting horses ready first time start.
Yep.
He also, in a limited sample size, 5 for 9 winning with 2-year-olds, 56% with a $10.80 ROI.
That'll
Again,
do.
how would you like that?
Very
if
much.
if I give you $2 and you give me back $10.80, I'll take that deal. The other thing I like is if you look, the last 2 works. That's something I really have started to hone in on with these 2-year-olds. Is a lot of times you'll see these 2-year-olds only doing 3 furlong works. And I really like seeing 2-year-olds that have done some 4 and potentially even 5 furlong works. It just shows the foundation. It shows the fitness, the condition level, etc. The fact that this horse has 4 furlong works the last 2 times out, and pretty strong 2 furlong works as well. That 48 and 4, 2 back, I thought was really nice, and then another 49 and 3. So I think this horse has some. It also has some precocity. The dam is 2 for 3 in the exacta with a first-time winner as well. Half to the horse Awesome Jerry, who was multiple stakes placed. There's some things to suggest this horse is going to fire first time off the first time out, and I'm going to use a horse at 8-1 on the morning line for only $3,000 in this race.
Anyone that's watching Succession right now, I think Jerry's the one that's going to be standing at the end when it's all said and done. If you know what I'm talking about out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's not going to be the kids. It's not going to be any of those kids. It's not going to be the Murdoch kids who they model that show after. If you're a fan of like what's going on in politics and stuff, Succession is basically modeled after what's like the Murdochs. And it's fascinating to see what happens in real life and how they try to mimic it on that show. Jerry, Awesome Jerry. Let's see if she's standing tall at the end. Maddie, Barry, where else do we go on Saturday? Barry, you're headed to the 3rd, right? Santa Anita?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, let's go right next door, Santa Anita, and that is the Grade 3 Providencia.
Yeah, which is a really nice race. I mean, it's always tough when these horses stretch out for the first time, and you get a lot of chaotic kind of results when that happens, because horses that may look good on paper will kind of disappoint going longer because they're trying it for the first time, just like everybody else. And I think we might have that situation because there's a maybe what could be a speed duel developing in this race between the 3 Broadway Girls and Ancient Peace. I mean, they're gonna have to kind of get out and go here.
Yeah.
That's just the way they roll. And you have horses like the 5 and the 6, Paris Secret and Una Palabra, who will probably have to kind of go. And Pleasant Wave is a horse that I don't think necessarily needs to go, but can be close enough to hang around and kind of take over once those others get
just
tired.
trip out.
Yep. That's basically what we're looking at here, and that's why I picked the 1, Pleasant Wave. I think this horse falls into a great trip.
It's another process of elimination that you did, right? And this is the same reason why I ended up on the same exact horse in this small field, because you start eliminating these horses, and this is the only one that we can see sitting the trip, saving ground, being a little more forwardly placed, stretching back out, and having a little bit of late punch.
Yep. And I think he was just a little bit kind of needed the experience in those stakes races to set her up for this one.
So that's a look at Saturday at Santa Anita, race number 3. It's the Grade 3 Providencia, 1.125 on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. We continue along on the Saturday Santa Anita card, and we'll both go to we'll all go to the 6th race, where it looks like we've all got a play. Maddie, start us off.
No way we don't
in
have
race
the
number
same horse
6.
here. No way we don't have the same horse.
Really?
I'm
Okay,
calling
I
it
don't
right
know.
now.
This one was pretty wide open because I really like 2 horses, but I'm ultimately going to go to the number 10, Saikon.
No, not for me. No,
okay. I did. The 11 was the other one that I was interested in, so I don't know.
So
all right, so we're all over the place.
We're all different here. Yep.
So, or at least I'm different from everybody else. So, so this is a horse that I think has races that are absolutely good enough to win. coming back. And we should mention this is a horse that is, or this is a race maiden claimer 50,000 going 6.5 on the turf. And I like this horse because if you look, this horse has a lot of lines through its
Oh, yeah.
PPs. And there's been a lot of fits and starts and just not being healthy for multiple times and things like that. This horse, when healthy, has run some really nice races at both the maiden special weight and the maiden claiming level on the turf. Can go longer, but I think this 6.5 furlong sprint is obviously kind of a perfect distance. Now you're getting second back from a really long layoff for Papa Padromu's barn. And I think you're going to see a progression from that speed figure. This horse can get onto the lead. There is a fair amount of speed in this race, no doubt about it, but it's 6.5 furlongs. I'll sometimes just go with the speed of the speed. I'm not sure that Sycon's the fastest out of the gate. So I think this horse can sit, especially from that outside post position, can just kind of sit second or third and then make a run late. And so I'm going to use this horse at 10-1 on the morning line, only going to cost you $1,000 in stable duel. So that's my play there in race number 6.
Sycon, want to give a big shout out to our buddy Jake, who's watching and following along today. Jake with thrilling picks. I'm sure he's pretty excited for the big week coming up. Lots of value opportunities for someone like Jake who likes to play the big prices. Thanks for watching.
Also want to give a shout out to Robert, if I'm not mistaken, who commented yesterday.
That's a good call.
Robert he's taking the day off from work today.
He's firing away. Aqueduct and
Keeneland.
I've known Robert for a while. He's checked in lots of times through the years. I mean, I'm thinking years ago, if I remember correctly, with Robert, just always checking in, saying hello. Big fan of both of you. Also a big fan of Sarah. I know that he's checked in with Sarah El-Badwi a lot and said he really appreciates the work that we do and checking in every week. So, it's one of those things where you can get one of those and you can get 20 of the, what are these guys talking about? The one always feels good, right? It's always nice to know that there is someone that you're helping, a few people that you're sitting down. Like I said, I've had such a weird life in that I've been in some movies. I've been in some TV shows, like I was on TVG, which is in millions of homes, but I've also done streams that have had like 1 or 2 people and watching, right? So for me, it's really not about the numbers of stuff because I've been in all sides of that. I love being able to connect with people, and I'm glad that you brought up Robert, Matt, because he had some kind words for us last night. Barry, where are you looking in this one, my friend?
All right, now hear me out. I'm going to go with number 5. Stop and Address.
Nice. Okay,
Is
talk
that the
to
one
us.
you're on?
No, I was on the boot, Jimmy the boot. But go ahead.
All right, so we're going to go through this horse's career here. Started out at Del Mar, didn't run a step in a maiden special weight, $82,000. Probably not where he's supposed to be. Got
Behind
beat by
Cave
Cave Rock and practical move that day. We'll just throw that one out.
Yeah.
So comes back, 4 months later, and runs well in a $32,000 maiden on the dirt. Probably not what this horse wants to do. So they went back to the well, same thing, same result, second. Stepped up a little bit, 35,000, same result. But getting better. That's the key.
Yep.
Is getting
improving.
better. Then the next time went up again in class. Didn't run well, but was claimed. Out of that claim, up in class again on the turf, first time, 6 furlongs, runs a much improved race. Much improved race. Now, off of that race, this horse can definitely improve because it's clear that this horse likes the turf better than he likes the dirt. And I think this was a really, really shrewd claim.
It is sneaky.
And now you're going to a hot rider in Joe Bravo. And it's just everything's there for this horse to run well again.
We know he's got a lot more speed than he was able to show in his last couple starts, too. He can be more forwardly placed in here. Stop and a trace, a big price for Barry. Matt went to Sycon. I thought Jimmy the Boot, who comes in from Belmont, from Gulfstream, who's just faced better and tougher company throughout. And this is just a starting over point for this one, who had some pretty tough kind of wide trips in both of those races. And the one thing you'll notice about all of his races too, he's been in a big field every time. So it's not as if he's like finished poorly in like a small field. He's had a lot of rivals to deal with in each of his races, got some action in some of them. I think there's ability here for Jimmy the Boot, hoping that this Like I could see him in like being late on the scene for a good second or third, and that's setting him up for the next one. But I also think there might be enough ability in here just to get the job done for Jimmy the Boot.
By the way, what a great name.
Right?
That's the name of some
That's
Italian
a
guy
good
with a
name.
crooked nose. Hey,
I
Jimmy the
know.
Boot, you know,
Hey,
and very appropriate that he was running at Belmont too. That's
absolutely
a New York name. if
There
I
was
ever
like a
heard
back
it.
alley deal over in the
Yeah.
corner back there.
Jimmy the Boot.
And
Yeah.
Jimmy the Boot's got new owner papers, right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, like, how did that happen? Uh-oh. Jimmy the Boot, the number 9. As we I believe we have one more race to look at for Saturday. And I think Barry, you are in the 10th and final
Oh yeah,
on Saturday.
bailout.
Actually, well, there's 12.
Oh, 12. My
12
bad.
on
Oh, that's
Saturday.
right. That's
So
right.
there's a
My
late,
fault.
I was gonna say
My
there's a
fault.
whole late pick 3 starting in race number 10, but go ahead.
So there we go. We'll get it started in the 10th.
There we go.
I'm gonna take number 3. Really big news in the 10th on Saturday at Santa Anita.
Nice.
And I think this horse is just kind of rounding back into form. You'll see that this horse got good last winter-ish, you know, and ripped off a nice little stretch where the horse finished 3rd, 2nd, then 1st. And they kind of tailed off. They brought the horse back off the bench, ran a pretty good race going into open company, going 5.5. Then laid off a little bit, comes back on March 27th, runs a much improved race. And I think this horse is just kind of on the scene right now and kind of the now horse.
Really big news should come rolling late for the sniper, Barry Spears. 5-1 on the morning line, so will only cost you $6,000, right about that par that we need for Stable Duel when you're building your lineups. So there's a look at Saturday. Before we get out of here, I want to just take one quick look at 1 or 2 for Golden Gate, Maddie, because I looked at Golden Gate for Saturday. It's a great card at Golden Gate. There's a grade 3, and there are 6 stakes races on the card. Matt, can you tell us? I know we have a couple options for Stable Duel for Saturday. What games can we play in for Golden Gate?
So right now on the app, there's only one game loaded for Golden Gate, but it's a really great one to get into. It's the Golden Gate Gold Rush, $5 entry, only 3 entries maximum per player, but $1,000 pot for that $5 game. So I always love those kind of low entry, high pot type of contests. You have that there. So definitely an exciting one. Always enjoy the product out at Golden Gate. Shout out to Matt Dinnerman. Who's
I was going to say, he is like equally as good of a track announcer as he is a handicapper. And there are not any nicer people you're going to find.
No.
Like, honestly, when you're talking about just genuine, normally when you have someone who's really, really nice, like it takes away from their other skills. You know what I mean? Like, like no, I'm not.
Yeah, you suck at everything, but you're the nicest dude ever,
It's
man.
sort of process of elimination. Like, they're not great at a bunch of other stuff. They got to be overly nice. Then you've got Matt Dinnerman. It's not really fair because he's a fantastic freaking track announcer. And then you sit down and you handicap the races with him, and he's really sharp. He knows everything going on at Golden Gate. He's looking for prices. And then you talk to the dude and he's so nice. You're like, this isn't even real. There's no way. There's no way. So shout out to Matty. It's a big weekend coming up. Matt does a great job up there. And there are 2 that I wanted to mention for everyone because both of them are nice prices and they could probably really help you out in your Stable Duel lineups. The first is in race number 7. It's a 5 furlong turf sprint. And you'll see a horse named Alice Marble who will take a lot of money. She's super honest. She's a horse who's run down at Southern California, and she's in very good form. No knocks on her. The horse who I think is kind of interesting if you're looking for a price or maybe you wanted to dig a little deeper is actually right next door, is Lexington Humor. Now, I watched this horse, and the one race that really jumps out to me was 5 furlongs on the turf at Del Mar last year when you saw Lexington Humor sit a beautiful trip, sitting 4th, just a couple lengths off, the exact type of running style that would be perfect for this race, everything. So following that race, they try a stakes in a really tough spot at Santa Anita going 6.5 down the hill against Amy C, who was like the best turf down the hill horse. Following that, November the 19th, Lexington Humor, slow start that day and misses the break, was last of 7, just never really has a shot, like never gets into it at all that day. And again, they try Graded Stakes Company following that. Then they go over to Turf Paradise, and I think when that happens, people just sort of like put horses off the grid. They're just like not on your radar anymore. The horse didn't run poorly at all. In fact, was going longer and now cuts back to 5 again. Like, we know that she has a good 5 furlong turf sprint in her. We've seen it. Can she again sit that type of trip where she's not so far back? She'll have a little bit more punch. She exits a live race, and she's 15 to 1, so she's not going to cost us much at all in our stable dual lineup. That's Lexington Humor, the number 5 in race number 7 there in the Camellia Urso. So let me give you one more, folks, if you're looking at Golden Gate for Saturday. And we're going to go to race number 9. Again, if you're just now hearing about the races at Golden Gate this weekend, they're very, very good. This Golden Poppy is a nice turf stakes race going 1 mile and a 16th. You'll see horses like Rose Maddox. Nadette has been in grid stakes races against legitimate company. And I want to play the compare game. So let's look at Nadette, who's 3 to 1 and who should be one of the favorites in this race. And let's look at the number 6, Ever Smart, who's 12 to 1. Now, we can just compare some of the same horses, right? Quattrell, who beat Nadette twice, Ever Smart was facing. Ever Smart is second right here behind Quattrell on October the 15th. What I love about this is this was a allowance race that's sort of disguised as a graded stakes because the winner, Quattrell, comes out of this allowance and then goes right into graded stakes 4 times in a row, second, third, and then back-to-back wins. So you look at a horse like Ever Smart, and right away, people are going to glance at the running lines and see, well, she hasn't been really running in graded stakes races against, the best horses, like a horse like Quattrell, right? Or like a horse like Nadette, but they're the same horses. Right. Quattrell and Macadamia, they're the exact same horses. They just stepped up into graded stakes now. So I feel like from Nadette is 3 to 1 versus the 6 horse Ever Smart is 12 to 1. Like last time out, December the 3rd, was in a race where she just didn't really fire all that much. But in that race was Macadamia, who comes back in his second in the Buena Vista right behind Quattrell. And keep in mind, that race for Ever Smart, that was the 11th race of the year last year, that last race. Just put a line right through that race. That's a race where she's just tired. She's done. She's run enough on the year. They give her a few months off. Another positive. Last year, when she broke her maiden, she was off from November to February, a very similar type layoff as this one, a little bit longer this time, but we know that she can fire fresh and her trainer can get a horse to fire fresh. So I think at 12 to 1, compare her to a horse like Nadette, who's 3 to 1. I think you get a really nice value there on the number 6, Ever Smart. That's in the Golden Poppy. And then right next door, there's a graded stakes race, a grade 3 in the San Francisco. Really good Saturday up at Golden Gate Fields. Lots of stakes races, and Stable Duel gives you the chance to get involved with the Stable Duel contest. How about that, fellas? We covered a lot of ground in an hour today.
A lot.
Huh?
Got
Downright
races and
that was
everything.
Yeah, that
Pebbles
was
and
super efficient. We got you
Skittles. We got
Keeneland Friday, Foxfield Saturday, Santa Anita Saturday, and some Golden Gate Saturday, all in 57 minutes or so. Beautiful. And we just want to remind everybody that next week we won't be here on Friday because next week is Kentucky Oaks Day. Since they won't have any Stable Duel games for Churchill, I know a lot of people will probably be out at the track or watching those races, paying attention to those. So we'll focus on those as well. But if you want to get more help with those races, Matt will have a ton of content. Barry and Matt are going to join me early in the week to help me cover a race on my show. And then we'll also get some thoughts from them on the Derby as well. So there will be tons of great free content analysis out there for you if you need some help handicapping next week. Matt, I hope you have a blast this weekend at Foxfield. What else do you have coming up in the next week or so, Matt? Anything else you want to
there's so much I'm not even going to bother saying it all, but just follow me on Twitter at the handle @FailToMenace. And I will say, well, I did want to mention the one thing I'm really excited about is the second annual Stable Duel Fantasy Draft is happening next week.
Tuesday.
You, me, the Sniper, and Caleb Wednesday night.
Defending champ right here, baby.
9:15.
Yep.
Somebody lucked into Rich Strike last year. I'm not going to say who that is, but
yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. So even though there's not a Stable Duel contest, it's a fun way of still applying Stable Duel to the Kentucky Derby. We're all going to go through and draft our horses that we're going to use in our fictional stable and use Stable Duel scoring in the Kentucky Derby. So
I
it's
wonder how many
should be a lot of
20s
fun.
there are going to be.
Oh,
I know.
my friend, there's going to be a lot of 20s.
a few negative dubs coming up, no doubt about that. But come hang out with us on Wednesday night. Best place, if you follow all of us on Twitter, on social media, probably the best place to just stay updated on everything that we have. We always try to share all of our links, shows that we've been a part of, anything at all to help you out. So, folks, thanks so much for hanging out with us again. Good luck to Jake. Good luck to Robert. Good luck to all of you out there. Hope you all have a fantastic week. If you need any help as you're prepping next week for the Oaks, for the Derby, please come reach out to one of us. We'll help you out with any questions that you may have, any handicapping help you might need. If you ever have help with Stable Duel, that's our job also. We want to make sure that you are familiar and comfortable. Get those entries in and play, race, win. Joey Cleveland, my friend, talk to us. Talk to us, Joey.
Better you want to spread your pony knowledge wide. Oh, better I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, Stable Duel. Your horse racing fantasy come true.